Hi, this is Nick with 10 Bell Pod, and here's 10 facts on New Jack. Jerome Young was born January 3rd, 1963 in Greensboro, North Carolina. And if you take the fictional character New Jack and imagine what that guy's childhood would have been like, it's likely pretty close to the real childhood of Jerome Young. Jack was the youngest of his siblings. His mom was abusive towards him. Jack's dad was an alcoholic who was abusive towards his mom. Jack's dad once stabbed his mom in front of the family when Jerome was 5. And one time when Jack's mom tried to leave Jack's dad, he shot her in the leg. And little baby New Jack is just there soaking this all in. To wrap up Jack's 5th year of life, his dad would die of a heart attack, and Jack believes that his mom actually poisoned his dad, as she was a nurse and had access to tons of things that could potentially do this. So there's your setup for the rest of this. Jack said he started working in North Georgia wrestling in '92 before heading to Memphis and USWA, but where Jack really found his first home was in Jim Cornette's Smoky Mountain Wrestling. There he paired up with WCW and WWF enhancement talent Mustafa Saeed to form the Gangsters. The Gangsters, a gimmick that was made purely to troll the southern white people that populated Smoky Mountain Wrestling shows. The Gangsters tore through the tag team division, giving props to OJ, hanging white baby dolls from nooses, and having their biggest feud with Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, who are Southern wrestling royalty, and they were getting some legit dangerous heat. While Smoky Mountain definitely put some heat behind New Jack and the Gangsters, by June of '95, Jack would arrive to the stage that would make him a legend, ECW. The Gangsters made their on-screen debut by attacking Public Enemy June 17th, '95, and then made their official in-ring debut at '95's Hardcore Heaven, taking on Public Enemy in the main event, and as you can imagine, these matches are pure chaos. At 1996's The Doctor Is In, the Gangsters captured their first World Tag Team Championship, and they got a straight-up babyface pop for doing it. You can't talk about New Jack without bringing up some of his infamous in-ring, let's say, tactics. That brings us to the mass transit incident. On November 23rd, 1996, in Revere, Massachusetts, the Gangsters were scheduled to face Devon Dudley and Axel Rotten. However, Axel missed the show because he had a death in the family. Rotten was replaced by mass transit Eric Koulas. Eric was a local guy claiming to be a 23-year-old trained by Killer Kowalski, but ended up being a 17-year-old kid who was about to have a real bad time. Eric apparently had made himself really at home backstage, and for a newbie begging for a spot, that's a big no-no if you know anything about wrestling locker rooms. The new guys are supposed to shut up, shake hands, respect the vets. But the biggest mistake was telling New Jack what he wanted to do during their match. One of the requests was for New Jack to blade Eric because he had never done it himself before, and New Jack was like, yeah, I'll cut you, bud. During the match, New Jack pulled out a surgical scalpel on a stick, and in the end, Mass Transit would suffer 2 severed arteries and get 50 stitches. New Jack was charged with aggravated assault stemming from the incident, but was acquitted on the old wrestling isn't real defense. This attempted murder would of course make the Gangsters the hottest thing in ECW. In '97, Mustafa left ECW, breaking up one of the hottest and most controversial tag teams the game had ever seen. Not only did Mustafa leave ECW around this time, but so did Eliminator Perry Saturn. So partnerless, Jack decided to form a new tag team with ex-Eliminator John Cronus, forming the Gangsternators. They received a tag title shot at As Good As It Gets, where the Gangsternators beat the Dudley Boys for the tag team gold. New Jack was a balcony dive master, and this really helped him get over as a singles competitor. If there was a building with something high to jump off, you best believe New Jack was about to Shane McMahon himself off of it. New Jack tried to revenge kill Vic Grimes. At 2000's ECW Living Dangerously, there was a botched spot on a fall from a 15-foot scaffold. Vic and Jack missed the tables they were supposed to land on, and Vic landed on Jack's head, fracturing his skull, resulting in permanent insomnia, brain damage, and leaving Jack legally blind in his right eye. Also a broken leg just for fun. Then we get to February 2002 when XPW mistakenly booked another scaffold match between New Jack and Vic Grimes. 18 months after Vic almost killed Jack, it was time for Jack to almost kill Vic. Towards the end of the match, Jack went into business for himself and legit shot Grimes with a taser before throwing him off the scaffold. Vic missed all but 2 tables and came within a foot of missing the ring completely, which obviously would have killed him. He broke his fall on the top rope, dislocating his ankle amongst other injuries, and in a 2005 documentary, Forever Hardcore, Jack claimed that his intentions were to throw Grimes so hard that he would land headfirst on the turnbuckle and be killed as retaliation from the botched spot from 18 months before. In April 2003, Jack was in a hardcore match with longtime wrestler Gypsy Joe. I think Joe's gimmick at this time was that he no-sold offense, which apparently wasn't explained to Jack, so he took this no-selling as an insult. To make it worse, Joe likely accidentally stiffed Jack in the nose with a headbutt, which made Jack angry, and you're not going to like Jack when he's angry. This led to New Jack hitting Gypsy Joe with legit shots from a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire. And finally, in October 2004, New Jack was wrestling for Thunder Wrestling Federation in a match against William Jason Lane. During the match, Lane started hitting Jack with some real punches, and sure, Jack could have just punched him back, but work smarter, not harder. New Jack pulled out a knife and stabbed Jason 9 times. This would lead to New Jack receiving various felony charges, including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and aggravated assault to commit murder. New Jack got out of all this legal trouble, though. Lane said he'd drop all charges if Jack just took him out on the road with him, which Jack agreed to. But after all the charges were dropped, Jack just ghosted him. Oh, New Jack. For more pro wrestling history, find 10 Bell Pod on your favorite podcast app, or find us on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram.